Hi, fellow Hattrickers. Welcome once again to our Hattrick Direct Twitch channel. Here we are today with the second edition of our Hattrick Masters panel of pundits. Today we have the man who can generate every single statistic about the game's biggest club tournament, Nickarana. Hi, Nick.
Hi,
How are
Hi,
you?
Chase.
Hi. We also have the man who was chosen community hero in the Hattrick Gala held some weeks ago, which I guess you all know. He's Papa-Mish.
Hey everyone.
And finally, for the first time today, we have the finalist of the last Hattrick Masters, the manager with the funniest, weirdest avatar I've seen in the game. And you know what? I love his avatar so much that I think we could keep the avatar on screen for the whole program instead of his real face. So let's give a warm welcome to the manager of FC Mistral Gagnon, KCelec. Hi, KCelec. How are you?
Hi, Chase. Hi, Nick. Hi, Mish. Thank you for the invitation. It's a peak of my HC career to be in the stream, in the international stream. I sometimes participate in French Twitch streams, but it's there are only 20, 30 spectators, so it will
Great
be
having you here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I love your avatar. How did you do that? I mean,
I have a speculation.
okay.
It's quite weird. I think I saw this avatar and I saw similar ones. There is an option to switch your avatar's gender. So if you go to the male gender and you add a beard and then you switch to the female gender, it messes up the avatar in a fun way. But that's my theory.
exactly. It's how I did it, but it was a bug and it was fixed, so you can't reproduce it now.
Oh,
And,
so you should never change your avatar ever. Don't
Never.
touch it.
I'm stuck with it. I can't change.
I mean, it's unique. I mean, that beard that is like floating, the nose, the mouth in front of the nose. I mean, that's outstanding. And the color, all it's like an alien. The first time I saw this avatar, I was like, what's that? How can I
It's
get
probably
an
one of
alien?
those weird illusion pictures when you see, even if you put it upside down, it looks great.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start with the Hattrick Masters panel of pundits. And I have to say that it's been quite of a shocking edition, I think. We've never had like any, maybe the best team of the round has never qualified, right, Nick?
Yeah, it's never happened like that before. That the best team basically loses every single every single round. They often are in a they lose more often than you think because usually if you have the best rating, it's because you had the mounts to try to beat a tough opponent, you know. But still, yeah, it might be bad luck for Manchester United next round. They'll probably be number one, and maybe they can break the curse, or maybe not.
I think it's bad luck for Manchester United for like 15 years straight.
Yeah.
I'm a Man U fan, and I don't know, for a lot, like since the Ferguson era, we're not doing that great.
It's been a long time.
So we have this statistic that Nickarana posted on the forum, and we have like, is it round 5? So there are 8 matches. There have been played 8 matches. We were like saying that there was a shocking result at least every round, and here it's number 5, right? The Wizards that had 87% chance of winning according to HT score, if I'm correct, and they lost.
Yeah, they're a Romanian team. They're one of the top teams that was in Hattrick Masters this time. Romanians have had the most historic success, and so it looked like a pretty big a pretty major contender, the number one remaining team, and Peores Nada seem to surrender the match. You know, the ratings are a good 100 hat stats lower than prior matches, and seems like they just decided, okay, you know, I don't see how to win, so I'm not going to try to win. And
Yeah.
then somehow he won anyway. So it's yeah, really bad result for the Wizards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember looking at this, and it was like no defense for Pueras Nada, and the Wizards were taking midfield control. And the first four chances in the game, it all went to Puerel Nada, and they scored and scored and scored and scored. And you're always thinking, okay, that's salvageable. That's salvageable. It's one of those games when we'll see a comeback from being 2 goals behind, 3 goals behind, because every chance should be a goal, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I've seen this match before, and he had 2 chances to score. The Wizards had 2 chances only, so there was a weird distribution of chances here. But there are other matches that have been a little bit surprising, like Nomakala against, I'll try to pronounce that, Frontidaretur Islands, and I don't know how to pronounce the last thing. As? I don't know what to say. What's that? Um, this
Let's say it's a
one,
heart, or maybe a pretzel.
so this one was a little bit surprising as well. So
Yeah.
do you think we have to expect more results like this one in the next rounds?
Well, you know, it seems like they are, you know, many results that are unfair or strange, you know, and it is true if you look here on this, what there's also number 7 was a pretty big upset, so you have 3 that are upsets. But in the end, when you average it all out, the matches where it says it's 55 to 60, you know, it ends up 50. It ends up even, you know, for the prediction to be accurate, even in a 90-10 match, it has to be 10% of the time, and so you end up with that's why a single elimination tournament is so challenging, right? It's winning 8 of those in a row, even if you're favored heavily in every match, is still a very very low chance to win the whole thing. And so yeah, it will continue. Although this season it has been more in that the top teams, like the very best teams, none of them have really made it through, other than Manchester United, in terms of the teams who have the highest ratings.
Yeah, because we
Most
had like
frustrating.
Picante, ER Lakshmi. I think you mentioned them as favorites in the other panel of pundits, and they all disappeared.
Yeah, I felt especially bad for Lakshmi because he's had incredibly high ratings. He's had the top rating, or he's had a top 3 rating 3 seasons in a row now in the first 2 rounds, and he's lost every time in matches where he was extremely unlucky with or both the opponent and with the match results. And I know he wants to win. You know, I've communicated with him outside of the forum, and you know,
Mhm.
it would really be great to see him win one year. And I keep thinking, okay, maybe next season he's going to do it, right? Like he keeps having such bad luck, it's gonna even out, and he's going to win 8 games, and you know, and it's going to be easy for him. But no, he keeps having horrible luck. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and here's the top team ratings in the first 5 rounds. And I'm surprised to see Penarosa Bramante still on top after all these years of Hattrick Masters and being from San Marino. He's in the lead.
Yeah, San Marino's a new country, so it's amazing to get such high ratings from a new country. He's although now I guess it's been enough time. Maybe it's been 12 seasons or so for them. I know him well because we were in San Marino. I started in San Marino in the
You won the
beginning,
first
season
cup in
1,
San Marino.
and I won
Yeah.
the first cup. Yeah, I won the first cup, and then he didn't join actually from the very beginning. He joined halfway through the season. And then by season 2, he had built up his team already to be strong. And then we played in the semifinals, and I almost put off the upset, but he was just too strong. And then after that, it wasn't competitive. He was just, he's much better than the other teams. So yeah, he's managed to go, I think, every season since then. He's been there for 11 straight seasons, and he has a fantastic team. He also is, I don't remember what the result was. Maybe you know, Mish, in the H-Tall. I think he got to the top series, and I think he was one of the teams that made it to the top series in the first
Yeah, he is.
go. And you know, so that also shows. I mean, just his ability and particularly in that kind of challenge where being able to generate income and revenue. But he also knows how to play the game well. He's a very skilled manager too. So and yeah, I know he also would really love to win the Masters and is giving it his all. He can afford to. He can still win in San Marino and try to win the Masters. And he has a team that's good enough to potentially do it. But he shouldn't have finished first in the round. That was his mistake. Just like him, Varo team, Sito Palio and Baitar Jerusalem, and then the Wizards in round 5 all went out. And you see the ratings are high, right? I mean, this is a match that went to extra time, and there was double man marking, and he still has 17 midfield. Those are extremely high ratings.
Yeah.
It's huge. And we didn't see Picante here, for instance, but I guess that he played like big, or he didn't use his full power, because before we...
Yeah, he was one considered the big favorite by Nick.
Yes.
And Tom said, okay, it's done. He will never win.
He got like kicked out in the second round, I think, or third one.
Yeah.
Also by an upset, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yeah, it was a pretty big upset against him. I'm trying to see if he had any of the top ratings, but no, his top one was number 35. Number 35, number 44. So he was pretty high, but not not in the very top. But he's proven it from his league. I mean, I think he had a match well over 600. I think he has over 600 hat stats in his league matches, and he certainly showed that he could have achieved easily in the top 10 ratings.
Yeah, probably if he lost being favorite, he probably didn't want to go all in that particular match. He considered that his current those ratings should have been enough to win the game.
Yeah, it should have been enough. I mean, you can't if you have an easier opponent, you can't match every round. I mean, you have to say, okay, I'm at 70% to win or whatever. It was against Peoras Nada, so he was at 60% to win, and yeah, he didn't. He got a bit under 500 hat HTS, so strong, but not. It was but yeah, he if he'd gone a bit stronger, he might have avoided the upset there, but that's how it goes. You can't. Yeah.
Yeah, probably the only consideration is if you can understand that you're gonna have like 60% chance to win, 60 something. The only next step is playing a mods, and you don't want to spend the team spirit if you already have 60%. If you'll play a mods, so you'll have 75, you'll win the game, but your chances in the next rounds would be significantly lower. Those one of the chances. We could ask KCelec, probably like reaching the Hattrick Masters final. How many risks did you take in the previous rounds, knowing that okay, emotes would help me, but it's probably not good to spend it right now?
In fact, I had a pretty easy pass because in the round 1 I had a rebuting team, so I even played pick. In the next rounds, I only played against lucky teams that were in the bottom of the Knicks rankings.
Yeah, but
I only played 2 mods in the 5th and 7th rounds.
Yeah.
And in the other matches, I managed to have at least 60% of win, I think. So I could have been eliminated earlier. In fact, even in the second round, I was clear favorite, but I only qualified on penalties. So
By the way, thank you everyone in chat. Godiga, Gemma, friends, we all see you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Let's have a great stream. If you have any interesting questions and we do not answer, please spam them a few times so we'll be able to catch them eventually.
Yeah, they're nice. Nice comments here. People who want to see, or who are thrilled to see KCelec here. I love this one by, their friends, probably Dapidu, I guess, saying that he was here to see KCelec's face, and he's happy to say that it's the same as the avatar. So, so nice. If you have any questions, of course, guys, you see the panel that we have here. Ask. So, another thing that I think it was, I like it. I have to say, I like it. I like the comparison between traders and homegrown teams. And in this case, in the Hattrick Masters, it would be teams with a core of homegrown players, right? So we could actually take a look at the stats that Nick provided us with, and we can see, which I think it's very interesting. Let me find it. Here it is. We can see, as we were saying before, that out of the clear separation that Nick has made, that you will explain now, we have only one team, homegrown, reaching the final. And that is the one we have here, KCelec. Can you explain, Nick, a bit how you separated those three types of teams?
Yeah, so it was in response to a user to a user question about this, of could I try looking at the top 10 examples of traders and homegrown teams. So then I tried to come up with a definition to say, okay, how can I identify the most extreme version, of these? And so as some of the stats that I gather about the teams, I look at how much money have they spent on transfers. I had their salaries, although I didn't include that. I count a stat called trained seasons, which is when a player is in the team now and they were on the team from age 17 to 28. So the most trained seasons you can have when a player is 12 if they were on your team from being birth until, from 17.00 until 28. And then what's the last one? And then the number of homegrown players. So the initial version I had was more strict, but then I loosened it a bit to say, okay, trader means you spent at least 100 billion on transfers, and you don't have you have under 37 trained seasons. So basically, less than 3 players have been trained since the beginning. And often looking at these teams, they maybe just had one player who was who was a homegrown that they just left on the roster, or a lot of them didn't really train. The ones I could see, there was no core of the team that was trained from a young age. Then you have homegrown, which is they have at least 4 homegrown players, at least 48 trained seasons. So basically, you have 4 homegrown guys you train from age 17, being the minimum for a core, and then spending less than 100 billion on transfers. So they're not supplementing with a lot of money. They're basically the homegrown guys are the key reason that they've succeeded, and then homegrown plus big spend. Of course, then you have the best of both, right? If you can build a homegrown core, or at least a core of guys who are trained from very young, and then you also can spend a lot of money to fill out the roster, then that should, in theory, have the best results, right? But a trader with enough money can do anything.
Maybe we could tweak the third group a little bit to call them builders or cyclers. You could have 2 or 3 homegrown players, but a lot of training seasons, because like in all those cycle training plans, you eventually train quite a lot of time.
Yeah, so in the initial version, I had done it more tight and said it had to be 100 trained seasons, which I figured was like 4 players times 12 seasons, and then you have another 4 players for like 6 more seasons.
Yeah.
Or, like you getting to where you have like 2 rounds. And then I was surprised how many teams didn't fit either of these profiles. Like, for example, Manchester United, he bought I think he had bought 6 players when they were aged like 22, and then he bought another 6 players that were like age 27, 28 basically, and that was how he built the team. So he doesn't fit in any of these because they're not homegrown. but he does have trained seasons. So anyway, so that's how you get these sort of definitions. Yeah, and I'm happy to. I was trying to play around with it and see, but I'm open to more ideas on how to reconfigure it. But the end result was that the question had been from the user about which teams had the most success, both in terms of wins and losses, in terms of pat stats, and it's not a huge difference between them. But in the end, it is the homegrown plus spend teams that are, that's the most successful. And then in the core one, the traders have more success overall than the homegrown teams.
And we have this question here. It says, so homegrown and homegrown plus big spend are golden generations, right?
Yes, yeah, it has to be at that point. You got at least 4 in the generation, yeah. And often you see they have 6, but like maybe 3 are homegrown and 3 are not, or something like this.
Okay.
I'm a little bit surprised about the result. When I read Nick's message, I thought I would be in the 3rd category, but it seems I didn't spend enough to enter it. So
you were just below.
Fact,
you were very nearly, but yeah.
In fact, last season I had 10 millions available to buy a player in case of an injury, for example. So if I had spent it just before, I think I will be in the big spend category.
Actually, no, what I see, at least what I had counted at the start of the roster last season, is there was only 65 million of spend on the team.
I'm surprised. When I build it, I often had the feeling that I was spending too much on new players. So maybe it means I'm not the worst buyer.
Well, I think it's I mean, the top teams, like something like almost half the teams are spending more than 100 million, right? So if you're able to get to the finals only spending 65 million, it shows money's not everything, in how that you can overcome the money with good enough planning and building a roster, which is good for Hattrick. You want to have more than one path in the game ultimately from a game design view.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel that those are quite rare cases. Because eventually, even if you have a great plan at the top end of the game, unless you are extremely lucky, like players will be costing you a lot. Even if you, in every plan that you do, eventually you'll be able to train pretty much 6 players, and running to the passing training, you could add more, but those will be quite older, like 27, 28, 29-year-old, and they will be extremely expensive. So spending 100 million on all the roundup players plus substitutions to reach the top level seems reasonable for the, again, in the top level. If you'll consistently be able to reach, I feel the final stages of the Hattrick Masters spending lower amounts, it either means that we have maybe some sort of deflation and the prices are dropping a little bit, because at some point the prices of all the players were pretty much crazy. By the way, someone asked me what's the green light behind Mish. It's just a special light. If you want a different color, just spam it on chat and I'll try to put a different light behind me.
I think Hattrick Green suits the stream.
Maybe can Mish tell about his wingers? No, I don't want to speak about the amount of money I spend about my wingers.
I want to ask a question.
I bought very expensive wingers for no too good reason, except of just wanting them to be domestic, and someone really started an extreme bid war against me and dragged me into it, and it was a mistake.
How much money did you spend on them?
Well, I'll tell you that they were 21-year-old with 18 wing, good speciality, and the right nationality. So to not pay the extra salaries. And the potential wasn't that awesome. They were around, let's say, 2100 potential, 2100. The cheaper one cost me about 15.5 million euros, and the expensive one cost me 22 million euros.
Wow.
Or what? No, 24. I think
24. Wow.
that was for no good reason. I planned to go to the zoo with Lena and Sam. Tom wasn't born yet, and it was a project with the national team. Like they needed to train the swinger, and I could take him all the way to the NT levels. And I said no problem. But they scheduled to sell him, or we scheduled to sell him when I wasn't home. So just in case, I put an extreme auto bid on the player, something like 20 million euros. And we went to the zoo. Like, I didn't reach the zoo. I just went down from my apartment to the car, checked my phone. Someone outbid me. It was a board manager from Moldavia because he sold his whole team and he had too much money. And I look at my phone. I wanted to cry. I look at Lena. I told her, okay, you are going to the zoo alone. I have 15 more minutes to the end of the bid war. I'm going home. I'm going to finish this and I'll join you in my car. I waited for the last 3 minutes, placed one bid and won him. But I could say that I bought a super national team level goalkeeper just last week for only 12 million euros. So that compensates things a little bit.
Wow.
Luckily, you didn't want to talk about it.
No, I'm kidding. I'm willing to talk about it. It was a wake up call that, okay, I'm not gonna have enough money to finish up my team spending like this, and try to maximize training as long as you can. So a part of the training positions that I have for my project on the 50% positions for a lot of seasons, I'm trying to do profit with skill trading to compensate for that mistake. So I always remember that it was a very expensive mistake, and we'll see how it goes. I really like that stories. I think that start you realize world have to skill trade and buy cheaper. Yeah, something like this.
So it was for
it's a
Sherlock.
fun story.
It was for your team Sherlock, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, this winger already played, I think, a couple of times for the national team, and from the next campaign, he's scheduled to be one of the top wingers. So I trained him really well. He's gonna be in 2 weeks a double magical winger. So that's pretty good.
Will be worth his price.
No, no, I've seen
Say
I've seen fully trained wingers that I could have that just bought out of nowhere for 60% of the price. But it is what it is. I'm happy with it. It's a fun story. People are always asking it in chat, and I own my mistakes.
And KCelec, do you have any anecdote like this one, for instance? Any buy that you shouldn't have done?
I also spent too much money on a winger. He was weaker than Mish's one, but it was the same reason. He was French. He had a good leadership,
Mm.
So and there was someone who did the bid war. So the price rise and finally I got it. But once you got it, you think I shouldn't have.
You
bid-
regret
and-
it. Do you remember the manager
and
who was bid warring with you?
Not at all. But
Oh.
the player I still have him in my team, and it's the one who missed the chance in the extra time of the final.
Oh.
So definitely, I shouldn't have by him.
Yeah.
And what's the age of your core players?
34 for the older players.
Mhm.
Last season I checked the ages of my squad, and I saw the younger one was 32, and I thought, whoa! The time spent so fast. But I bought some younger players, so I tried to last at top level. I'm not sure I will be able to do it, but the end is near for my homegrown stars.
What
Yeah.
will you do after that?
34, you could still have 1-2 seasons.
But my key players are forward, so they
They
skill,
drop skills faster.
Mm.
yes.
Yeah, but you're still on the lead in the French league, at least at the moment, by a 6-point margin.
Yes. If you look at the schedule, I was lucky because I had 2 away derbies in the first part,
Mhm.
but in the second part, I will have 2 home derbies, so no real home match, and I still didn't play the strongest team, which is a Caliente team,
Mhm.
which is a title holder and cup winner of last season.
Yeah,
So
and
maybe in 2 weeks he will be first and I'll be second.
we will see. But do you think you have any chances to reach the Hattrick Masters in the next season?
Of course, I have a chance, but
What
I'm
would you
not
say?
sure. I'm not
You-
the favorite to get the spot. The top division is quite
It's hard.
competitive this year in French division,
Mhm.
and if I win only one title, I'd be really happy.
And after that, what will you do? Once the players are like 36, 37, will you rebuild the team from scratch, or do you have any plans?
I have a dream, which is training the son of my legendary player.
Wow.
But in fact, he's already in the senior team because he came too early. So now I try to train him a little in the cup, which is not easy since I have a high stamina. And
Yeah.
in fact, this player is not good at all, but due to his family link, I had to promote him and try to make him a good player.
So this
So
is like
we'll
the
see.
LeBron James dream. If you know about him, his son isn't playing university in America basketball, and he doesn't seem to really be quite good enough to be a true NBA player. But LeBron has said, I want to play with my son. I want him on my team. So if you want me to be playing for you, you want to have my son on your team. So they're scouting him very heavily, to play in the NBA.
I mean, in that case, the father, which is 40, is stronger than the sun, which is
Yeah.
only 20. So
Same case in the LeBron issue.
Exactly. And there's another interesting question, which was asked, I think, in the live stream, but I don't mind repeating things. So, is there a team that achieved a good performance, which was full homegrown? So, 11 homegrown players line up in the Hattrick Masters?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Hattrick Masters, but definitely there was the project of Frank from Spain. Yeah, and he built several iterations of a homegrown team. In the third one, or in the second one, he wanted to build a homegrown team that could reach 600 head stats in a single match. And he did all this training, and he wrote an article about this. So you could find this article in the community section. And I won't spoil if he reached 600 or not, but I would tell you definitely that he was playing above 500 head stats quite consistently. So you could do it. Will it be enough to reach the Hattrick Masters? 500 head stats, 550, I don't know, 600 if his dreams it came true or not. Maybe in a small country, probably not in a bigger one.
So this is the team for Amigos, no? The in Spain, is that the team?
I don't remember the name, but I do remember the username is Frank, and he wrote 3 articles about it.
Yeah, so I haven't updated it in a long time now, not in about 10 seasons, but I had looked at this before. I think when Frank's team was rising, about what was the best performances ever by a homegrown team. So I had 7 seasons of data, 70, and the top I saw was 544 hat stats, but I know it's been beaten since then though, so I need to update that. But yeah, it's at a level where you think, okay, they could compete in Hattrick Masters. You know, it's there are teams just certainly below that who are playing.
Yeah.
Hattrick Masters.
Okay, so maybe we should see the quarterfinals. We'll take a look at the next matches and maybe make some predictions. Are you up for it, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Cool. Then these are the next matches. Only 4 matches now, of course. And we have the favorite now, after all the other teams have been dropping. We have Manchester United Red Devils from Cyprus against Federer team from Brunei. And according to the HT score, I guess, Nick, we have position 1 and position 8 as to the best and the worst team out of these 8, right?
Yeah, so all the teams at this stage are pretty good, right? I mean, you've got everyone's in the top 500 teams in the world. So you know you still are dealing with a very high level with every team, right? So even if one is better than another, there's still anyone can be anyone, you know, in a given day. And I never intend to disrespect any teams. You know, sometimes I'm trying to show the teams that are doing the best and honor that. But you know, I always want to be careful to not have it taken the other way, right? But yeah, I think if you look at the ratings each round, I mean, there's a pretty big gap between the two teams. You know that Manchester United should be able to win. You also look at his history in Hattrick Masters. Anthony, I'm actually working on a project with Anthony that we'll talk about more soon. But it's you know he's had a huge amount of experience, right? He was in the Hattrick Masters for about 10 seasons in a row before with his team. He made the finals twice. He didn't quite win. But he also got to the late rounds 3 other times. So you think, okay, he has to be hoping this is the chance to win, right? I mean, he's so close now, and he came so close in the past, and you know, there's no other super team there that you think, okay, you know, he should be favored every match from here, right? So I'm rooting for him personally, partly because I know him now as well.
Is there anyone who achieved to reach the final 3 times with the same team?
No one has managed yet. The best was Broscute won 2 times in a row, in the final, but no one has got there 3 times to the final.
Mhm.
Let me see if a
That's-
So it
manager
could
has.
be,
I'm trying to remember.
it could be a record for this team.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, definitely.
So do you have any predictions? Can we make some predictions? For instance, KCelec, what do you think? Who will win each of these 4 matches?
There could be surprises because in the 2 final rounds, everybody play mods because the final is the final, and in the semifinals, you can do the intensity trick after to get back to the maximal team spirit. But in the quarterfinal, you can. It's not clear what's the best choice between a mods and a pin. So some favorites can risk with a pin and be beaten by kamikaze mods of the opponent. So we, in general, we have surprise at last season. That was at that round that Dude lost. So I would say that Federer team can pass this round.
Mhm.
And the Pure Nada and the Icelandic team with a horrible name too.
Yeah, I completely agree. The favorites don't want to mods the quarterfinal. You want to mods the semifinal, drop training intensity, and mods the final again. That's actually what happened to my team Black Sabbath as well. I was the favorite in the quarterfinal. I played a pin. My opponent modsted me. I still was favorite, but I was unlucky and I lost. But I think from what I've seen, Manchester United should be better, even pinning against the mods. If I need to guess, United will win. Then Barack Osama will win. The other 2 matches are really
Really tight.
open. I would say Candice and Kush Trim, but that's only a guess.
Yeah. Nick?
I mean, yeah, I have it on the page, I guess. So I guess I have to go with what my model says. But yeah,
But
I
you know
think
what has happened in the last, well, in all the rounds. So every favorite is knocked out, even sometimes deserving it to win. I mean,
it's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll say the Icelandic team and Deportivo Mato Grande, and then to mix it up a little.
okay. So I
Well,
think
what is incredible in this table is the last 2 columns. If you, apart from the Manchester United, all teams are below the 60th rank at the start, which means that they logically should have lost in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if it was a perfect measure and there was no random. So I don't know if it was worse or better in the previous years, but it's shocking, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely relatively big. Yeah, quite low ranked teams. I was trying to put something together on that to look at that, and yeah, it hasn't been like this where there's been so few teams that are from the top 50 by this point. Let me see if I can find that here, and then try to speak to that. Yeah, well, so for example, I see here there was one season like this. It was when it was there was a team, the one that Namakala won in season 82. Zuyul was number 80. He was a Brazilian team, and then everyone else was number 60 or below. And then he ended up losing to Namakala in the final. But generally, every other season, there's been at least 2 top, a couple top 25 teams or even more, you know. Like in some seasons there were multiple. Well, the season with the most strong teams was season 74. You had 5 top 10 teams still alive at this point. But then it's more typical to have about 2. Most seasons it's around 2 top 10 teams and 3 or 4 top 25 teams. So yeah, this is a big a big shift.
Yeah, first of all, just remind the people that I've just posted a link with a document where you can make some predictions as well. So we can see what the viewers think as well and predict. So yeah, and I don't know if it's something that has happened often, you know, that to have the clear favorite win the Hattrick Masters. Do you remember any of these cases, you know, like number 1 power rating or HD score really winning?
The only one. No, I mean the couple ones that got that far, like Caesar Spore 2, he was number 1, but then he lost in the final. Yeah, I don't know. There must have been somebody, but I can't remember anyone who was.
In the season. Black Sabbath was one of the favorites. Caesar Spore 1. Before that,
okay.
Before
Yes,
that,
you're right. You're right. He was number 1, and then he won it that season. So he was number 1 and had a really dominant performance and won. Yes.
Corinthians Mozambique were one of the favorites in season 74.
Yeah, so he was number 3 in season 74 at the start. Hadar in season 83 was number 1, but then he got upset in the final by Fiorentina. And yeah, I'm trying to see who else, but the last 3 seasons all had pretty big upsets. You know, we're all lower ranked teams,
especially Tractor Stalingrad.
Yeah, and Tractor Stalingrad was a one-time unbelievable one where, yeah, he just kept winning 20 matches that were 20-80 and just did it over and over.
I'm just watching at what the people are replying, and well, I think we have. Let me try to see if I can bring it on the screen, because especially the last question, which we will ask you to, you know, a panel of pundits. The last question is quite, you know, everybody's saying a different thing, because the last question is, who will win? Who will lift the trophy? Let's make a prediction. Come on, guys. KCelec, what do you think? Make a guess. Wild guess. Takes a lot of time to think.
I'll go ahead. I'll say Manchester United because I know him. So even if he was the number 6, I would still say him. I hope he wins.
Okay, so I'm gonna agree with Nick. I'm gonna say we'll have history. He'll reach his 3rd final and he'll win. His first.
Okay, it's probably the team that I was thinking about as well. But since we've had the favorite team losing in each round, I'm not sure. Maybe now the streak is over and Manchester United will get to the semi-final and then final. But let's see what our viewers said. So for the first match, 66%, that is 2/3, voted for Kustrimal. Now 70%. Someone is just voting. Same is happening, differently with Frontiera Island with 6 out of 10 votes. Then, wow, the next match is really tight. 50-50 for Peores Nada and Barack Osama. And then 60-40 for Manchester United Red Devils against Federer team. And who will win the Hattrick Masters? We have 6 contenders here. So except Kustrimal and what's the other team that we didn't see? Barack Osama, sorry. The rest have been voted. And with 30%, so 3 votes out of 10, we have Peores Nada FC. Not bad. Not bad.
Probably
So
we need to wait a little bit longer for more votes to come.
yeah, exactly. We'll wait, and I'll post it also in the global forum, and we will see. But I just wanted to see now at the beginning with 10 votes. I know it's not a lot, but just to see how it went. And I had the feeling that it would be really random always, like what the winner would be very tight, and it is. So I don't know, guys, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about? Have you seen
I will just mention it was pretty interesting. The Bears in round number 4, they had defense of 30. They didn't have a lot of midfield or attack, but the 30 defense for not a long shot team was quite interesting to see.
now that you mention long shot teams, there's a question for KCelec, if he's still here. If not, maybe you can reply it. Do you think a long shots team can win the whole Hattrick Masters still, or they are now too easily overpowered by stronger teams? KCelec, are you here?
Yes,
Okay.
I
Can you reply?
think they could win, but if you look at the stats, every year, 200 of teams can win, so they can win. But I think the question now is, do the best manager try to build a long shot team now that the official announced that they want to nerf it as a strategy and shift it to a tactic. So maybe we could see more hybrid teams that can play long shot or normal lineups. But I think it's the hype has gone. So almost nobody wants to build it now. It's too long to build, and you can't bet on what will be the engine in 10 or 15 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And Nick, you did a study as well related to long shots versus pressing, right?
Yeah, well, it had surprised me here that I thought maybe it was basically answering this question of now 2 seasons in a row, no long shot team made it to round 5, and so you say, well, is long shots having less success now? But it surprised me that not really. They were having about as much success as they did in the past. That the nerfing didn't really achieve what it was supposed to achieve in terms of, at least from results. That the points per match was only down a very small amount, and they make up the exact same percent of teams that are in the top in the elite leagues. So I define that as the top 2 divisions in the biggest countries and the top division in the others. It was like 9.6% before the nerf in season 80 and 9.6% after still now. So surprisingly little impact from, I feel like as a player that the pressing tactic is now quite strong against long shots. And you do seem that more and more teams are playing it, and it does seem to be hurting long shot performance a little. But yeah, still they're having quite a lot of success. And I think that the ability to build the team relatively quickly and with low effort, I do think that appeals to some users. Like I remember Air Canto, someone asked him in the Spanish forums, why are you building a long shot team now, basically, and he's like, well, now I have kids and it's I don't have time to trade and all this, right? I can build a long shot team and kind of wake up in 3 years and the team will be there, so I think maybe it has appeal to users in other ways. I mean, if you want a way that's not a super homegrown team or trading, it's a third path, and long shot teams have won it recently, and reached the finals as well in recent seasons.
Why do you think only 30% press against them now? Even if it's going up, why only 30%? They use other tactics, or I've never played against long shot team. So
Yeah, they're using other tactics. I mean, I think the general usage seems to be that people use it the same way that you use a counterattack. In a match where you think you're less likely to win, you hope with the press you can get the draw, basically. Or maybe you get lucky, and if you have inferior ratings, especially on the road against a long shot team, that's where it can be very, very hard against a top long shot team. If you know they're going to get 55-60% possession, well, why not just why not just pick? You put your pressing, and you hope to go 0-0.
okay, so we have this comment here. Ercanto is building a homegrown long shot team. Wow.
Yeah,
That seems really nice. I'd like to see how it evolves.
I think there was a Belgian manager who did the same, and he reached first division, I think, but he never won a national title. But that was an impressive run, since Belgium is a quite big country with famous managers. So maybe Ercanto will do even better with all he knows.
So this question here: how do you build a homegrown long shot team?
Actually, someone asked me how to do it in a cycle training way. So it's a bit easier probably to do it than to build normal teams. As in long shots, you could have you need less skills. You don't need wing and you don't need passing at all. So probably you start with a goalkeeper because it's only one training position, and then you promote some players and train them in maybe scoring, then playmaking, then defense, then set pieces, everyone, and that's it.
Yeah, in the long shot, there's a good long shot forum where they go into some really detailed training plans, and it's basically what Mish said. You have to start with the training that needs the least players. So you do scoring first with 6, and then then you go to midfield 6, and then defense 10, and then set pieces, and then you're able to do it. And basically, all 10 players are the same, right? So it's that kind of simplifies things.
Yeah. And I like this comment here, like, why am I the favorite to win the whole thing? Now it's 38.5%. So, well,
probably you have the most amount of friends on chat right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, like, maybe he's the one with the best luck so far, but anyone can win the Hattrick Masters, and that's true. I think out of the 8 teams, I think anyone can win. And actually, there was also a comment when I was showing the stats, which is true. I said it the other way around. So I don't know why red is on top, blue is below, but then on the right side isn't the other way around. So it tricked me. So
it's like logic tricks.
Yeah. So we have Deportivo Mato Grande as favorite for the first match. Then Candice Vanderpool as slightly favorite in the second one. Then we have Peores Nada slightly favorite as well, according to our viewers all the time. And Federer team against Manchester United Red Devils. So our viewers believe in the hex, or something that's happening against the favorite teams.
Okay, Menu may not be number 1, right? Someone else may get the number 1 rating in the round.
Yeah,
it's quite possible.
That's true. Maybe if Manchester United Red Devils is watching this or following your thread, they will lower their ratings so that they don't follow this and they don't get knocked out. Do you have anything else you would like to talk about, guys?
No, I think we are all waiting for the matches to come.
Yeah, and you're waiting also to follow how your team is doing, right? In the cup.
Yeah, I just scored a leading goal. It's minute 76. It's the 7th round of the cup. We're already in neutral matches, and I'm playing against a team that might do some trouble to me. They scored two weird goals with 20 and 30%. I missed two chances with like 60 and 70%. But all in all, for now, I'm just took the lead, and the scorer was my 24 million euro winger.
So
Good. Okay, so I think we could call it a day now, so that you can watch the end of the game in peace. And
Well, peace. It won't be peace, but hopefully I will win without injuries,
Yeah.
and I'll be very happy.
at least you can focus on the match, not on everything at the same time.
Yeah, guys, if you want to join me for the remainder of the stream, come to my channel after we finish here.
Of course. Let's all go to Papa-Mish's channel. So, guys, Nickarana, Papa-Mish, KCelec, thank you very much for your expertise. Thank you all of you, all the viewers, for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon, right? Thank you, guys.